Welcome to another edition of Northern Heat. And today, our special guest, all the way from St. John, New Brunswick, is David Alston. David, how are you doing today?
I'm good. It's nice and sunny out. Love it.
Yeah, well, send some of the nice weather up north. We don't mind having it, so we can melt the snow here and send it back down to you.
No. If you do, yeah, I want it sent really slow, trickle all the way through summer. That's fine. Not in big quantities, please. No.
There. So some of you might not know who David Alston is, but David's been involved in a number of projects. David, you're an entrepreneur. You've worked as an advisor with the government. You've been involved in documentaries, specifically with the Millennium Group. And the Millennium Dream was actually the name of the documentary. You've been involved with a lot of tech startups. You were involved with a very successful one in New Brunswick with Radiant 6. There's a number of things that you've done. You've won awards. You've been a mentor. You're an entrepreneur. You're coaching people. There's a lot of things that you're doing. So if we take into context, and when I read your bio, and there was a page long in there, and I didn't want to cover it all through there, but if I look at your bio, a lot of the things that you're talking about is working with youth and demonstrating that we do have things in New Brunswick that don't exist anyplace else, and trying to either keep them here or bring them back home. So what's so special about our culture and what we have to offer that highlights those elements in your words?
Well, I was explaining something to someone today about why the Maritimes was able to shoot for COVID zero as its goal. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the other provinces, they chose more of a mitigation approach. And yes, no question, we are a more spread out population, but we're still 2.5 million people roughly. And so that's still a significant number of people to have, collectively, and fingers crossed it continues this way, like less than 20 cases in the Atlantic Canada every day or less. Hopefully we had a lot less in the spring and summer last year. And one of the things I was saying is because we have this kind of in our culture, put your neighbor or put your community first, then put yourself second. And I think we all kind of grew up with that DNA, but it's when you have someone from away come in and they're like, wow, like you guys, like you're friendlier, or you're so friendly, or you're so like you're focused on community or this or that. And I think it's part of what makes us different. And I think it's part of what makes us special. I think the fact that you can be an entrepreneur and reach out and connect, 1 or 2 degrees of separation with someone to get their advice, and they're willing to share that with you.
Yeah, you're right.
Makes us special. And, I think sometimes someone needs to go away to see what other cultures are like. And I think it's great because you can learn lots from that, because you can compare to what you know. But sometimes they also discover that it was pretty special in terms of that's something that's pretty unique to us. I think nowhere else in the world, generally, I shouldn't say nowhere else in the world, but certainly it's not a common thing in other parts.
Well, I think we can actually say there's nowhere else in the world, because we are a different culture of English, French, Acadians, and now we have more people coming in with more different ethnic backgrounds that are making who we are. And so, the people side of it, I totally agree with you. We are special. The fact that we stop at 2 degrees of separation and we don't go all the way to 6 is pretty impressive in itself. You can pick up the phone and call anybody, and somebody's going to be connected to them. So that's one thing on the people side. But I heard you put out an article in LinkedIn not so long ago, and you were talking about some of the tech money that was being spent in Atlantic Canada. You want to share a little bit more insight on that too, because that's a big attraction too, right?
Well, I think we've been fortunate to have a tech community that has been supported by some early pioneers like the Jerry Ponds of the world that really kind of tried to help put that startup thinking on the map 20 years ago. And you're now into like second and third generations of tech companies that have started, and those entrepreneurs have gone on to other things and then kind of taken that DNA and excited others to create new companies and so on and so forth. So, and with some exits that we've had over the years, which is what attracts investment, we've had some good ones that have put us on the map as well. So, and then I guess the final thing is certainly what COVID's proven is that you can work from anywhere. You don't have to be in a big center. You don't have to be in San Francisco. You can be anywhere with a great idea, with great people that you're working with, and you can serve customers and you can build amazing businesses. So that kind of like location independent thinking is really, I think, open more of the floodgates in terms of investment and in different venture capital firms and so on and so forth, looking at all kinds of parts of the world, including Atlantic Canada. And there's some fantastic entrepreneurs here. I get a chance to work with them through the CMO or Chief Marketing Officer Accelerator that I created during COVID. There's some really awesome businesses that are serving customers globally. And I'm only just talking to a fraction of them. There's so many more. I mean, all you have to do is read different publications like Entrevestor or Huddle or whatever, and you're going to see so many businesses that are here, which to me kind of feeds that early question you had around, how do we bring people back and make sure that young people know that there's tremendous opportunity here in Atlantic Canada. You don't have to go elsewhere to actually find it. And it really is in their back door.
Well, it's interesting that you say, because before we started recording here, you mentioned the fact that you would have never thought of starting a business during COVID. And here you are doing stuff and working with other startups and other companies on a virtual platform. And, sitting in your living room or kitchen or office to be able to do it.
Yep. No, exactly. I mean, case in point, the fact that we're chatting here, we didn't have to get in any cars to go and kind of be in the same spot to record this conversation. We can just spin it up and then you can move on. You've already had, you said, multiple video meetings this morning. So have I. I think, the one thing that entrepreneurs recognize is when there's a disruption in an industry or in something, it creates an opportunity to try to fill a new need, right? So, never before, probably since World War II, have we had such a worldwide disruption around so many things. And so just because you had the lead going into 2000 or coming out of 2019, going into 2020, does not mean as a company you have the lead coming out of the pandemic. So what that means is that if things are going to shift, like remote working or like maybe traveling is going to be different, or how we do it is going to be different, or when we do it's going to be different, hard to say. All kinds of things have changed. So that means there's opportunities for startups and for entrepreneurs to be looking at creating new business ideas. So things that they never thought they would do before.
No, absolutely. And you're absolutely correct when you say major disruptions asks us to look at things and forces us, not just asks us, but forces us to look at things in different ways. And this is a fine example. Like, before it wasn't accepted to work from home. And now, the fact of working in your business, people say, what? You're making it, you actually go into work? And so, things have definitely changed. So, I appreciate the work that you're doing with different entrepreneurs across the Maritimes, especially in New Brunswick. What the words that you're bringing out there. I know, David, that you've been working for years at this mission that you have of bringing more people or keeping them here, and you're doing a great job at doing that. You're involved now just as much or more than you were before at creating that mission. You also have a business that you run during the summertime that actually teaches leadership skills to youth, and you've got your logo on there, Timber Tops. And so that's a business, and you and I have talked about it, where you're teaching leadership skills to the youth, and thank you for doing that, because they're going to become our new leaders, and so it's very much appreciated.
Well, thank you, and thanks for sharing. Connecting with people and sharing ideas through this podcast, because it's a chance for, again, a disruption, right? People are watching more video online. That's where they're connecting more this way. So being able to share ideas with others, so that they become aware of things, is important. Look, um, New Brunswick is now at the starting line, just like every other jurisdiction in the world. So coming out of this pandemic, we have the potential to be at equal footing in terms of coming out of the blocks and racing fast forward in terms of making some big leaps. We're already seeing some fantastic stuff happening right around, Bathurst with its ranking in terms of livability, in terms of people wanting to live there. I just saw Maclean's magazine come out, was it last week, where the three centers were in the top 12 in the country in terms of bigger cities, in terms of livability and where people want to live. So, between those two surveys, we're getting like multiple places within, New Brunswick, Atlantic Canada, that now that people could live anywhere and work and start businesses much easier, it's putting us on the map. And like you were saying before we get on this chat, real estate's been off the charts,
Yeah.
Here. So, I think that honestly, I think what we need to do as a province is take advantage of this stuff. This is some wonderful momentum that we've been given as part of this. I guess somewhat of a silver lining, I guess, in all of this craziness, and we need to take advantage of that and kind of build on that quickly. There's no reason why New Brunswick couldn't be 1 million people in 10 years from now. There's no reason.
No,
like we can do it. We can grow, and that can be some nice steady growth. We have to in many ways because. Just like any other jurisdiction, so many people are going to be retiring soon. We need that next generation of people and immigrants, newcomers, to be able to help take over those jobs, take over those businesses, and take them to new levels.
well, and it's not like we don't have the space. I remember you telling me the first time that we met that, the population of New Brunswick was about the same size as the population of a suburb of Toronto. We just had a lot of green space in between.
Yeah, that's right.
So we have room to build. So let's invite everybody to join us and move to New Brunswick. So again, David, thank you very much for the messaging. Thank you very much for the work that you're doing, and appreciate the fact that you were able to find some time to come on the show with me.
Happy to. Thanks,
Thank
Robert.
you again.
You too.
And there we are, another edition of Northern Heat for this week. David Alston, all the way from St. John.